What if I told you that the same advice keeping you broke is being sold to you by millionaires who made their money doing the complete opposite? What if everything you've been taught about getting rich is actually designed to keep you poor? And what if a 9-figure CEO just revealed the 12 exact rules that separate those who dream about millions from those who actually make them? Why do most entrepreneurs fail within their first year while others seem to effortlessly build wealth? What's the one rule that Warren Buffett obsesses over that most people completely ignore? Here's what's terrifying. Most people are taught to follow their passion and quit their job to chase their dreams. But what if this advice is actually financial suicide? What if the real secret is doing the exact opposite of what every motivational speaker tells you? Cody Sanchez discovered something shocking when she analyzed thousands of successful entrepreneurs. The ones who kept their day jobs while building their side businesses were not 1/3 but 2/3 more likely to succeed. Think about that for a moment. Staying at your job actually doubles your chances of becoming a millionaire. But why? Because successful people follow Warren Buffett's #1 rule. Never lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. And here's how you apply this immediately. Don't quit your job and go all in on your dream. Start with a side project. Keep your job while building it. Use your salary instead of debt to fund your business. And never leave until you have enough cash flow to cover your expenses. Cody learned this the hard way. She tried 3 different side hustles while working 80-hour weeks at State Street. The first one failed, the second one failed, the third one failed. But because she kept her job, she never went broke. And that's what allowed her to eventually build a 9-figure empire. What costs you more money than any bad investment, any market crash, or any business failure? What's the hidden expense that's bleeding your future wealth every single day without you even realizing it? And why does every day you wait to take action literally cost you thousands of dollars? Here's the brutal truth. 95% of people stay stuck because they don't move fast enough. But it's not just about being slow. There's an actual mathematical cost to your inaction. Every single day that you say one day next week, or when I'm ready, you're stealing money from your future self. Cody calculated this and calls it the cost of inaction. For every 24 hours you delay taking a smart risk, you're costing yourself future dollars. She analyzed her own journey and discovered something horrifying. When she was 26, she had a choice between staying in journalism or taking a leap to Goldman Sachs for significantly more money. That one decision to move fast doubled her salary trajectory. But then she waited 3 years before making her next big move. Those 3 years of hesitation cost her potentially millions. Think about this, if she had taken action just 1 year earlier, how much more wealth would she have built? The formula for smart risk isn't just about taking any risk, it's skill plus preparation times action equals smart risk. The more you learn what you're uniquely skilled at, the faster you move after you've prepared, the more money you make. So here's your wake-up call. How much money are you losing every day you don't take action? Because procrastination isn't free, it's the most expensive habit you'll ever have. Why do small thinkers make small money while billionaires seem to effortlessly generate massive wealth? What's the one thing that Elon Musk does every single week that most people actively avoid? And how can solving bigger problems actually be easier than solving small ones? Here's what will shock you. If you focus on small problems, you'll never make big money. Most people are distracted by tiny tasks that keep them busy but broke. They're losing 40% of their productivity to their phones, checking social media 144 times per day, and wondering why they're not getting rich. But here's the billionaire secret. Problems are actually the source of your profits. The bigger the problem you solve, the more money you make. Mark Andreessen revealed that Elon Musk's entire strategy is simple. Every single week, he goes to each of his companies and finds the scariest problem he can find. If he can solve the scariest problem, he can make the most money. Most people treat problems like biohazards. They push them away, avoid them, focus on easy tasks instead. But that's exactly backwards. The scary problems are where the money is. Cody uses something called the RICE model to identify which problems will make her the most money. Revenue, how much money will this make? Impact, how much will this change? Confidence, how sure am I this will work? And effort, how much time will this take? When you rank every problem in your business or life using these 4 factors, you can mathematically determine which ones will make you the most money. And here's the kicker. The biggest, scariest problems often have the highest profit potential. So stop avoiding the hard stuff. Start hunting for the biggest problems you can find, because that's where millionaires are made. What if I told you there's a psychological trigger so powerful that it can turn every dollar you spend into multiple dollars back? What's the one rule that separates generous millionaires from stingy poor people? And why does giving more actually make you richer? Here's something that will blow your mind. Rich people give a lot, poor people really don't. And it's not because rich people can afford to give, it's because giving is what made them rich in the first place. Cody discovered this through her company, That One Painter. They use what she calls the 5-to-1 rule. Give 5 times for every one ask you have. So instead of just painting houses for money, they paint 100 houses for free across the country. This costs them $1 million, but it turns into a $100 million company. Why does this work? It's called the rule of reciprocity. When humans receive something, they feel a psychological pull to give something back. Car salesmen know this. That's why they give you a Coca-Cola and a hot dog before trying to sell you a car. But here's the deeper principle. You make more money when you're a giver than when you're a taker. This isn't just feel-good advice, it's mathematical. When you give first, people feel obligated to reciprocate, often with much more value than what you initially gave. Think about your business or career right now. Where can you give 5 times before you ask for one thing? Where can you provide massive value upfront? Where can you be so generous that people feel compelled to help you succeed? Because the fastest way to get what you want is to help other people get what they want first. Why does everyone want to be the next Mr. Beast when the real money is in selling sprinkler heads? What's the inverse relationship between how sexy a business looks and how much money it actually makes? And why are 96% of Hollywood actors living in poverty while finance workers get rich? Here's the rule that will change everything. The sexier the business, the less money you make. The more boring the business, the more money you make. Cody calls this the Clooney rule. Everyone wants to be in Hollywood, right? Everyone dreams of being an actor. But here's the shocking reality. If you go to SAG-AFTRA, the union for actors, 96% of them don't qualify for health insurance and need government assistance because they just don't make enough money. The average actor makes $7,000 a year. Meanwhile, 90% of people in finance make all their income from their day job. Even if you're not the George Clooney of finance, you still have a really high likelihood of making serious money. This is why Cody went to finance instead of following her passion in journalism. She chose the boring industry where success was more probable, not the sexy industry where success was nearly impossible. But here's where most people get confused about online business. Everyone wants to be an influencer. Everyone wants to make money on YouTube. But do you know what? Every YouTube video Cody makes actually costs her money. So how does she really make money? She invests in businesses. She uses YouTube as a funnel to find more businesses to invest in, to find more investors, to grow the businesses she already owns. The lesson? Stop chasing the sexy. Start embracing the boring, because boring businesses make serious money. Why do most businesses target broke customers and wonder why they're struggling? What language do rich people speak that poor people don't understand? And what are the 5 things wealthy buyers care about that completely change how you should sell? Here's what's devastating your income. Your audience is broke. You're trying to sell to people who don't have money, and then wondering why you're not making money. But here's the secret. You don't have to be rich to sell to rich people. You just have to speak their language. Rich people don't care about discounts. They don't care about buy now, pay later campaigns. They don't want to hear about being the lowest cost provider. That's poor people language. Rich people care about 5 things. Exclusivity. They don't want anyone else to have it. Timeliness, limited time access, status. Will other rich people see this and respect me? Privacy. They don't want poor people bothering them. And convenience. They want less friction, not lower prices. Cody met a guy who runs a $5 million company. Every time he travels, he pays $500 for someone else to pick out his outfits, style them, pack them, take pictures, and ship them to his destination. He's paying for convenience, not cost savings. Here's your immediate action step. Go to your website right now. Do you have an option for rich people? If you only have one pricing tier, you're leaving money on the table. There's a rich person out there who wants your premium service and is willing to pay more, but you're not offering it because you don't believe you're worth it. Add a high-ticket tier, make it exclusive, make it convenient, and watch your income transform. What if the things you're avoiding in your business are actually the source of your biggest profits? What did Mark Andreessen reveal about how Elon Musk thinks about problems? And why do the scariest problems have the highest profit potential? Here's what successful people understand that failures don't. Problems are gifts. Most people think problems are bad, but in business, problems are actually the source of your profits. The bigger the problem, the more money you can make solving it. Mark Andreessen told this story about Elon Musk. The only thing Elon does is every single week, he goes to each of his companies and finds the scariest problem he can find. If he can solve the scariest problem, he can make the most money. Think about that. While most people are avoiding problems, pushing them to the side, focusing on easy tasks, Elon is actively hunting for the biggest, scariest problems because that's where the money is. Cody uses the Rice model to mathematically determine which problems will make her the most money. Revenue, how much money will this make? Impact, how much will this change my business? Confidence, what's my percentage chance of success? And effort, how much time will this take? When you score every problem in your business using these 4 factors, you can rank them numerically and know exactly which ones to tackle first. The ones with the highest scores are your gold mines. Most people use reach in their calculations, but Cody replaces reach with revenue because she cares about money, not just impact. Stop running from problems. Start hunting them. Because the problem you're avoiding might be the solution to your money problems. How do you make more money without working harder? What's the difference between linear income and exponential wealth? And how can you multiply yourself without cloning yourself? Here's the secret that separates millionaires from everyone else. Millionaires build once and sell continuously. They create systems that make money while they sleep, while everyone else trades time for dollars. Cody calls this the flywheel. At the top is herself, Cody Sanchez. She has a newsletter with over 1 million subscribers. From that newsletter she can sell multiple things: education, communities for people who want to buy businesses, a fund, investments in small businesses, a holding company, businesses she owns outright, and media, content that drives everything else. Each part of the flywheel feeds the others. The holding company and fund give her content to talk about, so she's not just theoretically teaching. She's actually in the arena building businesses. This creates a virtuous cycle where everything multiplies everything else. But she didn't invent this. She stole it from Jeff Bezos. In 2006, Amazon created Fulfilled by Amazon, where third parties could use Amazon's infrastructure. This expanded their inventory without them having to buy it all. Then they bundled Prime Video with shipping subscriptions, creating multiple revenue streams from the same customers. These moves took Amazon from $40 per share in 2006 to $400 per share, because they built systems that multiplied their value. Here's your homework. Look at your business or career. What can you build once that will sell continuously? What system can you create that works without you? Because the goal isn't to work harder, it's to work smarter. Why does your friend group predict your income better than your skills or education? What happens when you increase your wealthy friends by just 10%? And how can you make your dream day someone else's Tuesday? Here's something that will change how you think about relationships forever. Humans are contagious. Success is contagious. Failure is contagious. Even trying is contagious. And studies prove that your social circle predicts your wealth more accurately than almost anything else. Research shows that if you have just a 10% increase in friends worth over $70,000, you have a 70% increase in your net worth. You also have a 3.3 to 4.6% higher likelihood of investing more money. This isn't correlation, this is causation. When Cody wanted to get fit, she didn't hire a nutritionist or create a diet plan. She got a gym membership, and started only hanging out with friends who were obsessed with fitness, who didn't drink much, who ate healthy. Why? Because it's weird to be the only drunk person in a group of people who don't drink. She calls this making your dream day somebody else's Tuesday. You take the habit you want, and surround yourself with people who already live that way every day. For money, this works differently. The first time Cody started making millions, she was at a mastermind for people with over $1 million in net worth. A guy sat next to her and said, "When you tell me your problems, I've already lived them 10 to 15 years ago. I can predict your future. Tell me your problems today. And wouldn't it be nice if someone had already solved them?" That's when she realized the power of getting in rooms where other people's Tuesday is your dream day. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Because they're determining your financial future. What psychological effect can increase someone's IQ by 30% without any actual change in their intelligence? Why do your beliefs about yourself become your reality? And how can other people's expectations literally change your bank account? Here's something that will blow your mind. There's a psychological phenomenon called the Pygmalion effect that proves your beliefs about yourself become your reality. But even more powerful, other people's beliefs about you become your reality too. A famous study divided kids into 2 groups. Group 1 was told the kids were normal. Group 2 was told the kids were brilliant mini geniuses. Everything else was exactly the same curriculum, same environment. The only difference was what the teachers believed about the kids. Over the next year, the genius group increased their IQ scores by 10 to 30%. Same kids, same potential, but different beliefs created different results. Here's how this applies to your wealth. If you're at a job where people constantly tell you that you're not going to grow, you should leave. If you have team members with negative attitudes who say negative things, you shouldn't wait for the boss to handle it. You should handle it yourself. Here's why this matters for your business. B players never hire A players, because A players won't work for B players. B players only hire C players. So if you let one toxic person on your team, even someone who's just a little negative, you're guaranteeing that you'll only attract mediocre people. The things we believe about ourselves become real. If you let other people tell you negative things, you start developing negative attributes. This is the Pygmalion effect working against you. Surround yourself with people who believe in your success, and watch your success become inevitable. What's the real job of a CEO that most people completely misunderstand? Why do healthy companies look completely different from struggling ones? And what's the difference between a leader and a firefighter? Here's what most people get wrong about being a CEO. They think the job is managing people and putting out fires. But that's exactly backwards. Your job as CEO is really chief salesperson. In a healthy company, the CEO spends most of their time selling, partnerships, brand deals, acquisitions, even hiring, which is mostly sales. Then they spend time diagnosing problems and making decisions to solve them. In an unhealthy company, the CEO is in crisis mode. Firefight, firefight, firefight. Even in crisis mode, they should still be spending most of their time selling. Cody had a workshop with builders, and one woman named Mary had an accounting business doing $2 million a year. She couldn't figure out why her business couldn't grow, and she said, "I just need to sell more things." But as they dug deeper, they discovered someone had told Mary she should be selling less. Here's the problem. Mary was in enterprise-level sales where every new client was worth $50,000 to her business. But instead of doing the $50,000 selling herself, she was hiring people to do the selling and spending her time on accounting work. She had it completely backwards. She should have been doing more selling of the high-value services and outsourcing the accounting work. If you want to reach 8 figures, you have to figure out what your highest leverage activity is. And I can almost promise you some part of it involves selling. Stop hiding from sales, start embracing it, because selling is how millionaires are made. What's the one trait that separates people who win from people who lose? Why do curious people stay poor while obsessed people get rich? And what does Napoleon Bonaparte's quote about war teach us about wealth building? Here's the final secret that most people will never accept. You're going to win because you're an absolute psychopath unwilling to lose. That psychopathic behavior is the difference between everyone else and humans who get to the absolute top. Most people in life are curious. They dabble around with information, they watch a YouTube video here and there. They don't really go deep into anything. That's maybe 85% of the population. Then there are people who are serious. They go deeper into subjects, but they're still picking new areas to develop. They're doing more Netflix and chilling than grinding. That's maybe 10% of the population. Then you have psychopaths. That's 5% of the population. The few, the crazy, the obsessed. Why are obsessed people so powerful? Because it's really hard to keep up with somebody who isn't dabbling in lots of things, but every single day is learning more and more and obsessing, and nobody's paying them to obsess, they're just doing it. The obsessed person will almost always beat the really high IQ person who is just curious. This is compound learning in action. When Elon Musk bought Twitter, he diverted his private jet to personally dismantle Twitter servers with a pocket knife after employees warned about migration risks. Within 1 month, he had laid off 80% of employees. That's psychopathic dedication to winning. Napoleon Bonaparte said, "In war, men don't matter, one man matters. One psychopathic human can change the stem of any tide. Where can you be an absolute psychopath? Because over time, that's what wins." Your bank account is a direct reflection of your speed. The 12 rules you just learned aren't just information, they're transformation, but only if you actually use them. Remember, never lose money by keeping your job while building. Move fast because procrastination costs you thousands daily. Solve big problems because that's where big money lives. Give 5 times more than you ask. Choose boring businesses over sexy ones. Sell to rich people, not broke people. Hunt problems instead of avoiding them. Build systems that work without you. Surround yourself with wealthy people. Believe in your success. Never stop selling. And be absolutely obsessed with winning. Most people will watch this video and do nothing. But you're not most people. You're going to pick one rule and implement it this week, because that's what separates the dreamers from the millionaires. Subscribe if you're ready to join the 5% who don't just watch, who actually do. And remember, you're not behind, you're not too late, and you're definitely not too old. You're exactly where you need to be to start building the wealth you deserve. The only question is, are you curious, or are you obsessed?